All right, camera's broken, so I'm going without the camera right now. Managing your credit is really important. If you're going to be looking for a job, buying a house, buying a car, doing any of that kind of stuff, the better your credit, the better your chances are going to be of getting what you want. There's a lot of things that you can do to protect your credit. You do want to protect your credit score, and there's a lot of literature on how to do that. Surprisingly, you want to have a lot of credit available to you, but you want to use very little of that credit. So just as a personal finance best practice, it's good to have credit cards with high credit limits. So if you have a credit card that has a $20,000 limit, but you're spending $20 a month, that's fantastic. The credit agencies love to see that, because if you have some unexpected bills, there's a good chance you're still going to be able to pay your bills on time because you can tap into that credit. However, if you have a $100 credit limit and you're spending $50 a month, you're using 50% of your available credit. So you want to manage your credit score. That's kind of out of the scope of cybersecurity, but you want to pay your bills on time and use as little of your credit as possible. One of the ways to use as little as far as percentages go is to have a higher potential credit limit. Another thing you need to do is monitor your accounts. So annualcreditreport.com is the official website. So if I go to annualcreditreport.com, the government basically said, yeah, credit reporting agencies, you're taking everyone's data. You have to give them free access to their credit report so they can check for errors, mistakes, all that kind of stuff. So people, if they need to go get a home loan, there's nothing fraudulent or incorrect on their credit report. So annualcreditreport.com is the real place. If you just Google like free credit report, you're going to get a bunch of stuff that is not that. Like freecreditreport.com is not, I repeat, not the website mandated by the government. The Federal Trade Commission says, like, yes, annualcreditreport.com is the legit place to go. And so if you Google free credit report, that'll be the first link. The Federal Trade Commission, they'll point to annualcreditreport.com. So come here once a year, put it on your calendar, recurring event, run your credit report. This will, I already did this, so I can't request more free credit reports, but this will link you to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It'll give you a snapshot of your credit report as it exists on those three agencies' systems. It should all be the same information. You should see the same accounts, but occasionally an account might appear in one but not another. So it's good to check all three just to make sure they're in line. So do that. Pause the video. Go run your credit reports. If you've never run them before, go ahead and do that. You can get credit monitoring services. There are websites. Personally, I do use Credit Karma. This isn't really an endorsement. Intuit is a reputable company, so I trust them. Just know that if you sign up for a credit monitoring service, yeah, that company is going to be actively looking, and it's just one more party that's going to have access to your data. They're going to try to sell you stuff, especially if you're not paying for the service. You pay for the service by them advertising to you. But it is good if somebody opens up a credit card in your name or opens up a bank account, or if there's an unexpected large transaction, like your credit card balance goes up substantially, a credit monitoring service can be helpful. If you want to get alerts, most credit card companies, they do have alert thresholds. So if somebody transfers money or if there's a large transaction, you can get a text message or an email. That can be good too. That can be enough in many cases. One thing that can be important is freezing credit. And as I was going in, I thought I had actually frozen my credit. I logged into Equifax.com And it turns out my Equifax credit was not frozen. I totally thought it was. I'm trying to remember when I last unfroze it. So I am going to freeze my credit right now in real time. So what is a security freeze? This makes it so that people can't do lookups. Like if I go to Ford and I say, hey, I want to get a new truck. They say, all right, we're going to run your credit. If they use Equifax as their provider, Equifax would say, Ford can't give you that information. This is frozen. This person's account is frozen. So I'm going to place a freeze here. It's free. Helps prevent access to your credit report with certain exceptions. Yeah, I've got to do it all three places. So this freeze is only going to be placed on my Equifax. That's good. That's what I want. So I'm going to place that freeze. So now my Equifax credit is frozen. Nobody can get a loan, or nobody can do a credit lookup. Most loan providers do run a credit check before giving you a loan, but it's not a guarantee. I would also need to go check TransUnion and Experian. I don't want the confirmation. I'm perfectly fine without that. So if you're not looking to take out new loans, your credit should be frozen. If I wanted to go buy a truck from Ford and I needed a loan to do that, I could just unfreeze my credit right before going to the dealership. The dealership could run my credit check. And then once that loan gets fully processed, that can take a little bit of time. I can go back in and I can freeze that credit check again. So it's just a good best practice. Manage your credit, number one. Monitor your credit, number two. And freeze your credit when you don't need to be taking out new loans, number three.